Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome again to another episode of Joshua's Generation. We are just completely centered around spreading the good news of God's love. Have a very special guest with us today. Jackie Bogan is here with us today. We're going to be studying Genesis chapter 25. She's from Augusta, Georgia. Studies at, help me say this one more time. Antilian Adventist University, studying nursing, and she's a junior there. And so we're just all thankful and grateful to be able to have her on the show. A quick announcement. The times have really just been messing with me a lot. So I've been like kind of trying to do episodes, and I haven't uploaded them yet. So bear with me with those. We're getting those done as soon as possible. But also December 25th, we're going to do a Christmas episode special, an hour-long special where you guys will just have songs and preaching. And so stay tuned for information on that. But other than that, we're studying Genesis chapter 25 today. It's a very interesting story. But before we get started, we are going to have a word of prayer. Loving Father, as we go throughout this study, we ask that you will bless us and keep us, and everything that we say and do may bring glory and honor to your name. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so Genesis chapter 25. All right, we're talking about kind of a number of things here in this chapter. For one, the chapter actually starts off with basically the death of Abraham. Okay, well, not the death of Abraham, but starts off with Abraham takes another wife, and then he has these sons. And we're not going to kind of read those names because I'm going to butcher those names if I try. So, but I kind of want to get to the bottom of this chapter. Well, in verse 5, we're talking about how Abraham eventually buried his wife Sarah, and that was kind of the end of that situation. But I really want to get to Esau and Jacob. I want to get to that. So I want to start with verse 19, and I'm going to read from the King James version. So it says, and these are the generations of Isaac. You got Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to his wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Peniram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. Okay, and then Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, is it so? Why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right, so basically this means, hey, you got twins. All right. And in verse 24, it says, and when the days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, they were twins, and her womb, and their furs came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his vision, but Rebekah loved Jacob. All right, so basically, I don't want to say favoritism, but both parents had a child. I was like, okay, I love him. Mama's boy and dad's boy, and all this is going on. But the meat of this text kind of comes with verse 29, all right? And so Jacob comes to Esau, they came from the field, and I'm sorry, Esau came to Jacob. Esau had been hunting this whole time, and he's like, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. This Esau despised his birthright. Let's stop right here. I kind of make this personal, okay, to me. How many of us, well, I know for me, many times I made decisions based off of what I felt in the moment, right? And
Yeah.
basically did something that, how can I put this? Did something that was not
Created regrets.
created regrets. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did some stuff that basically like so many times we sell our dream or our goal based on just how we felt. You know, I want this now. I'm not gonna. I'm not like okay. Here's an example. Okay, so you remember when in chapters behind chapters before, God tells Sarah, "Hey, you know you're gonna have a son." Okay,
Yeah.
and Sarah says, "You know, I'm too old. I can't do that."
They
Okay,
start
God says,
laughing.
"Yeah, you can. You know, with me, everything's possible. You can have a son." Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but in order to help, basically
Speed
God
up the
along,
process.
Sarah said, you know, he didn't really say how I was going to have the son. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell Abraham to get with her, and we're gonna have a son like that." Okay.
Exactly.
And again, she basically sold out. Okay. She chose what she chose, how she felt in the moment. And so often we do that. You know, God tells us to wait. You know, it's not your time. You're like, oh no, I gotta do that right now. I gotta do this right now. A big thing in this generation is sex. You know, nobody wants to wait till we get married. So let's have sex now. We're in a relationship or not in a relationship. Don't nobody care. And those are some things that we do. But in this passage, Esau and Jacob are facing the same thing. Jacob says, you know what? I'm gonna trick Esau into giving him. Actually, you know what?
But I think that what I was trying to figure out is because like siblings, like when you come home and like say you come home from school and your mom's cooking up something and you're just like, dang, I'm so hungry, like I need to eat because I feel faint and I feel like tired and all stuff. And I'm just like, was he overreacting? Like, was he overreacting when he said, I feel like I'm about to die, or like in verse 32 it says, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Like,
Yeah.
was he exaggerating, or was he actually like, oh, like I'm about to pass out, I'm actually gonna die?
Well, honestly, there's no explanation to that scripture. I mean, to that
Exactly.
text. But I don't know. I kind of would lean towards he probably was, because I know that there are people who have passed out from lack of food.
That's true.
And so maybe he felt like he was going to faint. But interesting you brought that out, because
Yeah.
I also want to bring this out. Okay, so
Yeah.
I felt like Esau did not have any care for the calling that God put on his life.
Yeah.
Basically, God said, "Yeah, you're going to be a great nation. You're the firstborn." And you know, back in biblical days, the firstborn meant, "Hey, you was it. You was the man." You know, nations came after you and all this other stuff. And Jacob, I'm sorry, and Esau despised that for a bowl of lentils, or despised that for what he wanted in that moment. You know, God is what he's talking about. I want this now. And so often we do the same thing with God. God, I realize that you've called me to this, and this, and this, but I want to go here and I want to do this. So I'm gonna do this, and whatever happens, happens. And we pay no mind to what God has done for us or what God is calling us to do. Because in verse 34, that last little verse, it says he ate the food, and then it says he despised his birthright. They gave it away, disregarded it, and gave it to Jacob. Um, and the thing I have about this, I was thinking about this last night actually about Jacob, and I felt like, you know, Jacob took that need for granted, his Esau's need for granted. You know, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, okay, we'll do this. You know, instead of realizing, okay, he's hungry, let me just feed him. You know,
Yeah.
okay. Let's put this in our terms though. How many times do we do that? How many times we take advantage of someone based on how weak they are?
Based on their situation and what you feel.
Exactly. Um, I think about Job in the Bible. Job is one of my favorite people to just speak about. I think about how Job kind of lost everything he had, and his friends came up to him and said, "Hey, Job, listen, you're doing something wrong." You know, instead of encouraging, instead of helping him, they're like, "Hey, you're doing something wrong." I think about the disciples when blind Bartimaeus was looking for, well, want to see again. He kept calling out to Jesus, and they kept shutting him up. You know, hey, Jesus ain't paying attention. You shut up, sit down in the corner. But the scripture says the louder that the louder that they shut him up, the louder he began to yell. Okay, wanting to see Jesus. And the disciples, the followers of God, the Christ, the church people, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that. The church people kept shutting them up, you know. And so often we see ourselves, or we do those things to people, you know, instead of embracing them, instead of helping them, we say, "Nah, hey, listen, no." Or, "Okay, well, if you want to do that, then you got to do this first." That message is very popular in the prosperity churches. You know, their whole thing is, okay, well, you want God to bless you. Well, if you return or give this amount, because they're not returning anything, you know, they're giving the money to the pastor basically. And so what's going on is they say, well, listen, you want God to bless you, and if you just give this amount to the church, then God will bless you. And they take advantage of those people and how weak they are. And as Christians, and I'm not even gonna say as Adventists, as Christians, this is something that we should discourage. What do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like we should discourage it. And I feel like when you take, like, I think it all goes into judgmental, because if you're telling somebody, it's not only like I can profit out of it. It's like I'm telling you what to do. So that means I have authority, or I have more experience than you. So that gives me the right to tell you what to do so that I can benefit from it. But it can also lead into, like, say, let's take the church, and let's say like a person that's been a part of the church for a longer time, and a new person that's coming to the church and that wants to be an active participant in the church. But say they look a little different, they act a little different, and according to like the traditions in the church, or like how they're supposed to be according to like the older like members of the church. The older members of the church address that person and say, well, you need to change this about yourself, your physical look, you're doing this and doing that, and then we can accept you to be active inside the church. I feel like that you're putting yourself on a hierarchy that God did not give you. God doesn't hinder anybody from being active for him, for standing up for him, for accepting him into their hearts. And so I feel like people benefit off of telling other people what to do, but at the same time, they benefit from that prideful feeling, and that has nothing to do with God. And so, when it comes to the church, I feel like that's the church's biggest problem when it comes to like what I can get from a certain person's situation and all that stuff. I think that's the church's biggest problem. They feel like because I have this longest term in the church, and I'm an elder, I'm a deacon, I'm a this, I'm a that, I have all these titles, I have the authority to tell you what to do, and you're lower than me. You know, you're not treated as an equal. And so, I think that's the biggest problem when it comes to like receiving something for somebody and twisting situations, so like blackmailing them into like getting what you want. But
that's really interesting. I actually had a personal experience. When I got to Oakwood, you know, so we're all theology majors, you know, kind of studying.
Okay.
And I'm in one of my classes, and I see this guy, and from the looks of it, I was like, ain't no way. Ain't just no way he's a theology major. Because based on his appearance. And I'm being real. I'm being transparent right now. Transparent right now. And so I was like, there's no way he is a theology major. There's no. Well, actually, I didn't think of him as a student. I was like, I don't.
You thought he was just walking around.
Well, I don't know. I just thought he was walking around. I was like, I don't know what's going on with him.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on. So,
Mhm.
he looked like he had a lot of tattoos around his face and everything. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
I know you're not. You're not. Well, um, and he kind of looked intimidating to me. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna keep my distance from him. But
Ooh.
one day I was working at the front desk like I normally am, and he came in. He was cleaning the building, and so I stopped him. I said, hey, how you doing? Um, what's your name? Tell me his name. I said,
Mhm.
oh, I said, so you're a student? He said, yeah. I said, oh, what's your major? And he said, theology. I was like, theology? Hmm, theology?
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, yeah. So, think about, the thing about us, we can keep our mouth closed, but our facial expression just
They
says what
for
we're thinking.
sure. They will show.
So I was having a hard time with that. And he said, I know, I don't look like a theology major, do I? And I said, no, no. He said, well, I am. I said, okay. So a couple weeks later, he was preaching for a night for one of the Friday night services that
Mhm.
we had. And when I told you, he was just full of power preaching the
Oh
night. And
my
I was like,
goodness.
I remember I felt so guilty sitting there listening. And God was like, listen,
Yeah.
didn't I tell you to stop worrying about the appearance of others? And
Mhm.
so often, like what you were saying, we're so quick to judge someone based on
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
or based on what they're looking like, or how weak they are in that moment.
Right.
And again, that is one of the things that we are called to encourage others. We're called to spread the gospel, to encourage, to love, and
Right.
do all these things. And like with the authority gets to us,
Yeah, it does.
and it's like, oh, I'm better than this. I'm the pastor of this church, or I'm
Or I
I'm
know
sister
more than
so and
this.
so, and I have generations of people that are Adventists, and I know what to do. And I feel like so many times the disciples had that mentality. I think about
Yeah.
not Thomas. What's his name? Not Thomas. What's his name? The Judas.
Oh.
Judas.
Mhm.
Yeah, when they were at the little dinner, and Mary came and she anointed
Oh
the feet
yeah.
of Jesus.
Mhm.
And Judas says, hey, listen, shouldn't this money be given to the poor? Like, come on, what are you doing? What is she doing? And then
Mhm.
Jesus, rebuked him, hey, the poor, you're gonna have it you always, but not me. Okay. And even then
Yep.
he was predicting his death. But even in Judas's eyes, Judas is like, hey, listen, come on, come on. We don't have to
Like
do
we
this.
don't we
This is
don't do charity.
we don't do this. This is unacceptable. Okay, come on. Do you know how expensive this thing is? Like, do you know how
Yeah.
expensive this perfume is? Like, come on, she spent money on the wrong thing. And she just said no.
Mhm.
Um, and so oftentimes we do this, we do this, we do this. But I know we haven't read over 25, but 27 kind of goes with 25 and talks about how
Mhm.
Jacob now is getting ready to thinking he's getting ready to bless Esau. Okay. And so what's going on? Uh, Send for Esau. Okay. But Jacob says, no, I mean, the mother says, no, Jacob, you're going to get that blessing. Okay.
Yep.
So we need to trick and deceive your father. Because first of all, Isaac, I'm sorry, Jacob, Isaac was blind. Okay. Isaac, he was old, he was blind, and just really couldn't see anymore. So verse 1 says 27, as it came to pass when Isaac was old, his eyes were dim, and so they couldn't see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son, unto me, behold, here I am. He said, behold, now I am old, I know the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out into the field, and take me some vision, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah, his wife, Jacob's wife, Isaac's
Mhm.
wife, heard when Isaac said, and Esau went to the field to hunt for a vision and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob and said, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau, thy brother, saying, bring me vision and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before thy death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I commanded thee. Go down to the flock and fetch, and fetch me for them 2 good kids of the goat, and bring them a savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth, and thou shalt bring it to thy father that he may eat and that he may bless thee before thy death. And Jacob said, hey, mom, this ain't gonna work because, Esau is hairy. He got this hair and I'm smooth. I don't have any hair on my arms and stuff. And he said, my father peradventure will feel me, and I shall see him to be a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. His mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made the meat such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of his elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her youngest son. And she put the kids of the goat upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. So they have conspired to get this. They're doing everything in their power to get this blessing. So verse 18 says, and he came unto his father and said, my father, and said, here I am, who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, and eat of my vision, that thou soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast sounded so quickly, my son? They got the little trend going on about the red flags. Like you've seen those everywhere. This is a red flag.
Wait, the what?
They got the little trend about the red flags now, right?
Oh yeah.
So the first red flag is right here. How did you catch it so quickly? And then Jacob says, behold, the Lord thy God brought it to me. Second red flag. Okay, so now we're relying on God now. And then Isaac said to Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. Jacob went near to Isaac and his father, and he said, thy voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau, and he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother's Esau's hands. So he blessed him and said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's vision, that my soul may bless. And he brought it near him and did eat, and he brought him wine and drink. And his father, I said to him, come near, now I kiss my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is that the smell of the field where the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be the blessed, and he that blesseth thee. Okay, so basically, what's going on is now Jacob has just stolen the birthright from his brother Esau. And actually, I meant to say Jacob actually means deceiver. And so he thinks he has gotten away with this. And so verse 30 says, and it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, Jacob was yet scarce gone out of the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he said, he made the meat, brought it to his father, and said unto his father, let my father rise, eat of this son's, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? He said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, where is he that hath taken vision and brought it to me, and have eaten all before thy came, and have blessed him? Yet, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, the brother came with subtlety and had taken away thy blessing. Let's stop right here. Now, remember, verse 25, right? He'd already signed away his birthright for a bowl of lentils, for something that he felt like in the moment. And then after it says he despised his blessing. So we can it's kind of safe to assume that he didn't even think about it after the fact until his father said, hey, I'm gonna bless you. Oh yeah, right.
Because it was based off of temporary feelings.
Right.
But why did Esau want it? Was it because of the blessing or because of the riches? Because it may not have been the spiritual blessing, but more the physical blessing.
It might have been. But we can look at it too with Jacob. Like, Why
Yeah,
Jacob
Jacob.
tried so hard to get that blessing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, this got deceived and this was able to deceive his father and his brother twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
But
basically,
mhm.
good.
But at the same time, like I agree, but at the same time, what I see right here is parenting. Like
Mhm.
who is installing this rivalry within them? Like if the parents didn't have favoritism, one for like the mom having favoritism for Jacob and then the other one having favoritism for Esau, how differently would their brotherhood be? Like, would they have coveted like this whole battle of the birthright? Would they have so much anger? Would Jacob even deceive his father if his mother wouldn't have told him? And I'm just like, why did the parents like treat their children that way? And I was trying to analyze their relationship, like when she was barren or whatever, like Isaac was praying for his wife to have a baby. And so I was like, okay, well, they're making God like the center of their life. Like he's praying for his wife like spouses should do.
Mhm.
But then it's like their whole marriage just changes when they have the kids. They're like separate. There's that love, that praying for each other, that unity is gone. And it's just about their kids. And like, I like this kid way more than the other kid. And this kid is going to be better than the kid that you're treasuring. It's like a battle. Like something shifted. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, I do know it's like, oh, Jacob did this and Esau did this, but at the same time, the parents is always a source. Like, okay, so like when you hear a child curse, like I mean a young child, you're like, you shouldn't be like, oh, that child is cursing, like that child has been
Mhm.
doing, like that's a bad kid. No, where did that child learn it from? What type of household are they growing up in that people are cursing like that? Because they didn't just come up with that in their minds, they heard it. It's the influence. So I'm also thinking that maybe Jacob and Esau are the way they are because of their parents. Like, yeah, they make their own decisions, but who influenced them to make those decisions? Because it's a lot about she said, Rebecca said this, Rebecca said that, Rebecca told her son this, and the Rebecca put God into it. The Lord wants you to have this birthright. The Lord, but did the Lord actually tell her that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, too often times we blame something on God. You know, God said this, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, or was it based off of her own feelings? Like I
True,
feel
true,
like
true.
God's saying my son should have the birthright. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Too oftentimes we but let's put this in the friendship context.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the parents, you know, influence children. But how is our influence on our friends? You
Mm-hmm.
know? Do we do this type, do we have this same mentality that Rebecca had?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's okay. Or do we sign off on our friends to say, yeah, you can do this, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You can do that too. Yep, yep. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and often we sign off on Rebecca signed off on her son's deceitfulness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he didn't only deceive his father, of course, he deceived God too. You know,
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah.
father, God.
Mm-hmm.
And so often we do that, you know. Oh yeah, we know. I know what the Bible said, you know. Well, and your friend might say, yeah, Jackie, well, I just like him, and I just
Mm-hmm.
you know, I might sleep with him tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, you know, that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
Mm-hmm.
often we do things like this, and our influence around our friends and family has a lot to say with those types of things. Becca had influence on Isaac first, you know. I mean, Jacob, because that's her son.
Yeah.
Okay. But often we do the same things with our friends and say, hey, well, that's, you know, you can do that. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And
We're
and
really
and
quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're really quick to like, I'm gonna give my opinion
yeah, good,
because
good, good.
yeah, because they asked for it. But you should be like asking the Holy Spirit, what should I say? And
Mhm.
how much should I say? Because it's like we're adults. So like we can't be like we're not like kids where it's like, oh, maybe you should talk to your parents about this. No, you should talk to your parents about it even if you're an adult, but like to a certain extent, you have to make your own choices. But
Right.
as a friend, you can't be the parent because they didn't ask you as a parent, they asked you as a friend. But then you have to create the boundary between how you feel and what you want to tell them
Mhm.
and what you need to tell them and how much, because you don't want to push the friend away. So it's a lot just about prayer. Like stop, hold back the
Yeah.
word, pray, ask for guidance, then speak. But it's so hard because just like in this book, we have like in these chapters, we have these temporary feelings where it's like, I want to say it right now. Like I know what I want to say. Like I don't even have to think about it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
And basically, so what happens in verse 44,
Mm-hmm.
Esau despised to kill Jacob, his own brother. Um, Again, so Rebecca says, so I don't really have to read that whole passage, basically talking about anger and how he's going to kill Jacob and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And so in verse 46, Rebecca says to Isaac, hey, I am weary of my life. Or Rebecca says to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob took a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as the which are the daughters of what good shall my life do? And so basically, he's like, listen, I gotta go. And so he flees, leaves his father and their mother and go separate ways, all because of deceiving.
Yeah.
You know, this whole situation could have been avoided if um, he had let Esau get the blessing. So
Yeah.
oftentimes we make decisions based off of, again, how we feel in a temporary moment, and those decisions can impact a lasting effect on us. Of course, Jacob ended up having a whole nation. I think Jacob had a nation, Esau had a nation. And so those are their choices. But the one thing that has come out of this as tech, this story, and is Jacob Jacob feared for his life, and Jacob went into hiding. He ran. And there was when it was years that passed before he ever saw his brother again, and we read those in later chapters.
Yeah.
But the context of this story, and I want to get to this, the simply, again, what we already pointed out, as so often we try to help God, I'm gonna do this, or I don't care about the blessings you put in my life. I feel like doing this. When I think it's like in my junior year of high school, I was really bent on going. I want to be an engineer. Actually, no. I just wanted to be an engineer where I can make a lot of money. This is all I wanted. So if it was an engineer, sure. Not a doctor though, but an engineer, I could do that.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, God's like, I'm calling you something better. I think ministry is what I want you to do. And from there, I was like, nah, hey, no, God, not me. Pastors don't make a lot of money like that. That's engineering, something different. Engineering, military, something besides pastoring. And I'm just thankful that God was able to say, hey, no, listen, this is the calling that I have on your life, and it's what I want you to do. And so often we run from that calling. Jacob, although he was the youngest, was called to be a great nation. And he didn't understand that either. He thought that him having the blessing of Esau was going to help him out. But the blessing wasn't even for him. Again, the blessing was for Esau.
Yep.
They both had a special job, a special calling on their life. Only they could do. Okay. Again, how too often we find ourselves trying to take someone else's calling. Oh, I want to do that. I heard people say everybody can't preach, everybody can't sing, everybody can't do this, everybody can't do that, but everybody does have a calling.
Yeah, everybody can do something.
And so again, this it's interesting. But as we go through I want to later. I'm gonna have to get you back because I want to go to 28 too. but again, first of all, deceiving. Jacob deceived basically everyone, and then ran because of the cost of his choices.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we go basically throughout our lives, we need to realize that sometimes, not sometimes, every time, the calling that we have put on, the God has put on our lives is, I like to say, a high priority. Okay, God gave it to you for a reason. And again, it would be wrong for us to be like, you know what, God, I ain't feeling that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this instead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I feel like it is right to tell him that, like, be honest.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. But again, yeah, no, I do understand that. Yeah, I understand that. And yeah, I'm not saying they don't talk to God about it, but I think at the end of the day, it's like God knows what's best for us.
Yeah.
You know, God knows what we're good at. You know, it's like God, no, it's like God, well, I want to sing. Yeah, I didn't give you the gift of singing. You know, no, I remember I want you to teach. I want you to do this. I want you to teach children. This is what I have for you. Or God, I don't like teaching. Well, no, well, God, I want to teach. Now I give you hospitality instead. I gave you community service. You know, each of us have a role to play and bringing others to Christ. And what would it be like if we all stuck into we all just embraced our calling and went out and did what God asked us to do instead of worrying about, oh, well, he has a better call than I do, or he's doing this better and I want to do that. What would our generation be like if we just was like, all right, God, I'm here, I'm open, I'm available. Give me what you need me to do and just go out and do it. You know, I feel like our generation would be a whole lot influential. You know, if we just was like, yeah, I do it, I take it, I do it, I do it. Got any closing arguments? Not closing arguments, closing statements.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I believe that it would be a different environment, not only in the church but outside of the church, like in our communities, in our individual like spaces that we have with people. Because when people see that light within you, when people see that drive to want to do whatever God has called you to do, they're attracted to it. Right. Some people do get upset though, but you know, that's just the Holy Spirit working on their heart. Why do I think that? Because the devil is angry that we want to listen to God. So when people get troubled by it, they're upset that they keep thinking about it, and they're just like, why is this bothering me? Then they may end up being, you know, a laborer for God too. Like it's just all a process. So yeah, I think overall these chapters are teaching us to adapt it into our own lives and really don't base off of the temporary feelings. Just be open to God's calling, be open to what he's telling you to say, what he's telling you to do, and let him drive your life.
Amen. Most definitely. Well, once again, we are grateful that you have joined us on our podcast today as a very inspiring conversation. Again, are going to have you back on again sometime later on. For those that are watching and tuning in, we are grateful that you joined us today on Joshua's Generation. If you would like to reach out to us, you can email us at joshuasgeneration21@gmail.com. That's Joshua's Generation, one word, at 21@gmail.com. If you would like for us to pray for you. Again, just reach out to us again, joshuageneration21@gmail.com. We ask you that you would please don't put your prayer requests in the YouTube comments, but please email us again, joshuageneration21@gmail.com. For those of you that are younger and have Instagram, you want to follow us, Joshua Generation. That's it, Joshua Generation. Type that in your search bar, Joshua Generation. Follow us, comment, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Joshua Generation. And we'll be posting more and more videos throughout the following months. We are excited about what God is doing as we get ready to close out this year. We're just looking forward to next year and the grateful things that God will do for us. But again, we thank you for your support, your prayers. Reach out to us, like us, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends and family about what God is doing here at this channel. But again, I want to thank Jackie for coming on to the show. And like I said, again, next month we'll be doing a Christmas special programming where we'll just have singing and some good preaching. And so again, come on, hop on YouTube. You can be in your PJs. It don't really matter. Just come out and hey, support, listen, and just be uplifted. We hope that these programs are a blessing to you. And we again thank you for tuning